Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collective podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons, terrorize!
Hi, welcome to TFYLP, episode 573. We are live tonight. It is Thursday, April 4th. I'm Lucas. I'm joined tonight by Christian.
What up?
And Phil.
Good evening, everybody.
Phil, I thought you were gonna put up a graphic of yourself like frozen.
No.
I was really hoping you would freeze in that weird pose.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe I still did.
Never can tell.
Yeah. All right. So we're all in pillars on the screen, I can see.
Oh, yeah. Did you want me to hook up another camera so that it's like the right aspect ratio?
No, I don't mind that I'm a pillar. I'm just trying to make sure I'm centered.
Right. No, we're actually doing a good job of being centered, even though you probably didn't realize we're doing that. So, there you go, Christian. We can see the back of your TV now.
You can always see the back of my TV.
Right, but that's the main thing. So there you go. So anyway, so tonight we really wanted to be on topic and break the news here of things that have been announced throughout an entire month that are, some of the things are already in our hands, some things are coming soon, some things are, so it's all very relevant.
Yeah.
Between WonderCon and their live streams, what was it, 5 different announcements?
Yeah.
Yes, between the both, yes. 4 of the live streams, except one of them was pre-recorded, and one thing at WonderCon.
They seem very excited to be announcing things that have already pretty much been shown off by other people.
So the first live stream they did was back on March, whatever that first Thursday was. I think it was like the 9th. Let's look. It's actually the 7th. Was a recap of that press release they sent out at the end of February for the 40th anniversary and all the stuff that they're collaborating with. So they talked about the Transformers oil changes at that auto shop that I don't have and don't remember. They talked about the New Zealand Mint coin, which I received yesterday. They talked about the headphone thing. Yeah, so they just went over that again. I don't really know why. That was also the day the Star Seekers, which are now called the Star Raiders, I think, went up for order at Pulse and Walmart.
No,
they
but I thought
wouldn't get talked about until next week.
Oh, like you're saying that the listings went up?
Yeah.
So
I guess they didn't go for order. The listings went up on Walmart, and then they talked about them next week after we already ordered them. That first March 7th was also the day we ordered Studio Series Blaster.
Woo! Which I think mine is coming.
Mine is here.
Oh, there you go. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been able to compare and contrast yet, Christian?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
It definitely looks more like the movie and the cartoon deco. Kind of similar like what we had seen with Cup versus Buzzworthy Cup, where it's the where there was clear plastic is now something painted, and it looks more akin to what we saw on the screen. So I've got mine. I haven't opened it yet, but it's got the big window there on the chest, and I don't know, I like it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna sell my whatever Kingdom version I have or whatever other version I've already owned.
I feel like I need to just show up with a box full of all this old crap, from getting these slightly nicer decos that are all coming out for everything but obviously this has been a progression, right? So I guess not Blaster, but like a bunch of the other ones, where we've gotten like 5 versions of these things.
Yeah, I mean, Transformers, we've talked about this. They've been doing it for a while. G.I. Joe, they're doing it with that. They're doing it to a certain extent with some of the Star Wars Black Series lines. And like some are kind of easy to figure out, like, oh, they're probably going to redo that toy. Other ones like Blaster, I don't think I would have put Blaster on the list as to. I take it back. The clear cassettes made it seem like Blaster was probably going to get redone with fully painted or non-clear plastic for the cassettes. So I'll be curious to see how we get Eject down the road, because I don't think there's an obvious way to get him out. Unless he's in some sort of multi-pack with
in
Ram
the
Horn Steel
Studio Series Blaster box.
I'm sorry. Then rewind.
Oh, right. Yeah, he came with Twincast and is also clear.
Yeah.
Oh, so Zaldron is mentioning. So now we know what Lucas is hawking at Galvacon this weekend.
That's right.
I actually am not, because I'm too lazy to actually put up a sales pile. Even though Anna's been trying to get me to do that. But if anyone happens to listen to this podcast before this weekend, there is a toy convention going on in Wichita this weekend called Galvacon, which is not only Transformers themed, but it's a retro toy convention. So they will have lots of different retro toys. I know that there's several vendors that have been at TF Expos, TF Cons, previously, that will be there. So I think it's like $5 to get in. So I know Anna and I think we're going to try and make the trip down to Wichita. But if anyone else in the area is going and wants to go on, it's going to be this Saturday in Wichita. So,
and the following weekend in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, will be DairyCon. So some local Transformers cons for your if you got a little tax refund and you got some cash burning a hole in your pocket, a couple places in the Midwest for you to go spend that cash.
Sorry, Christian, we're leaving you out.
There's nothing over here. I'm just hanging out.
Christian, our producer's here.
The producer's here. Hey, Henry.
There you go. I figured
I haven't seen him in like 2 years.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true, because normally I don't have him like on camera, so I decided to grab him tonight. So, anyway. I like it.
So
Zaldron says, now you've done more advertising than they even attempted. So, yeah. I don't know.
That's how you make a successful con.
That is. So, yeah, I am not, like, again, I know that some of the prior TF Expo organizers are doing that, but I'm not personally involved with that, but I will be happy to see some of my friends going there. So
cool.
But yeah, so anywho, so yeah, the reveals, I guess, right?
Yeah. So I have to say, like, I was not super well prepared for tonight, and like didn't look up what the panels had covered in previous weeks. And so, Christian, you going through that list of what they covered in the first panel, like, that feels like it was 3 years ago.
Well, it kind of was, because they did that press release back in February about it, and it was just the exact same stuff. We had a show about that, so we've already talked about it.
Yeah,
right. And I'm just saying, like, that was like 5-6 weeks ago, and in my brain, that was like the 20th anniversary, sort of thing. Like, my brain just is time is screwed up inside my head.
It's big, especially because it's the 40th anniversary, not the 20th anniversary.
I feel like
that's
Transformers news, like, and the toy news moves so fast anyway, that I always forget week to week it is. And then, like, again, like Ron was saying earlier here, that Wave 3 is already leaking. And so there's, like, all these announcements.
Getting to that.
Well,
they've got to go chronologically.
Well, I was going to mention...
I just have to know if either of you got your Transformers oil changes done yet. Because you have that thing that you can go to. I've never heard of that.
I don't
What is
think
that thing
I
called?
have it.
Yeah, I had never heard of that place either.
What is it?
I'll look it up.
I'm pretty sure I don't have it. I thought you had it in Chicago.
Not that I know of. I don't know. If they do, I've never been to one.
Can I get a Valvatron?
I have one of those in my house. Those things are so just bad.
Cannot find this quickly.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Okay. So the next week was March 14th, still Thursday. This was the day that at first we woke up and ordered Target Optimus Prime. And Bullseye, who's a bubble mailer. And a dog. And a cassette, sort of. Remember that? Remember doing that? It was a fun time.
When is
I
that
forgot
supposed
about
to
that
come?
one.
In June or July.
Yeah. I feel like I'm a sucker for repaints, so I don't know why I'm getting it, but
It's a good one.
it looks
We
nice.
also ordered the Star Raiders that first thing that morning, and apparently there was a problem with filches. And there was also a problem with lots of people not getting up in time to order them, which was weird. I heard that a lot. Like, oh, I just didn't know. It's like, but they told us the time, so go order the stuff. Anyway, that's just me making plans.
This is one thing I'm trying to figure out about
What's
a
up?
lot of these things, right? Because
Yeah.
a lot of the figures have like sold out,
Mhm.
right? And like I don't know, I haven't really paid attention to see like whether or not they've like reopened the ordering for all the Star Seekers, the ones that had sold out. But like it's a pre-order. Like why? I don't know. Like I don't understand why they're making such low runs that it's an issue. And like some of the ones too, like for example, like the pre-orders for Swoop. And I guess spoiler alert because we're getting to that later. But like the like I don't understand why it's such an issue. Like why they can't just produce more.
Yeah, so that actually has an answer, and they said it toward the end of last year, kind of flew under the radar, maybe mid last year or so.
Okay.
But they announced that because their profits were Hasbro, this is the Hasbro announced because their profits were falling off, that they were going to start doing lower production runs of lots of things. The first one we really saw that with was Nemesis. Remember, everyone used to wait around for Titans to go on sale so you could get them for a decent price. You can't do that with Nemesis because there aren't that many of them. So a lot of people missed out because they were waiting. That's kind of what's happening now. You know, there aren't more of us, I don't think, but there are fewer toys to go around.
Right. So you may potentially have, like, I know some people were sharing on Facebook that they had ordered like multiples of Swoop, for example, in order to maybe flip a couple. And I know that there's a few people on the show or friends of the show that may partake in that from time to time. So perhaps that's where they're essentially producing the amount that they normally would sell for this, but because people know that it's a tight window.
The other option that we're starting to see happen now is that even though there are lower production runs, they seem more open to rerunning things later if there's demand. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if, next year or 2 years from now, there's another run of Nemesis, just like we're seeing at the end of this year, I believe, another run of Cosmos and Galaxy Shuttle. So they're around, probably. You just got to wait.
I mean, Ron made the joke that the Target Optimus Prime will be shown at the Ross by Christmas time. And, tying that into what Christian was just saying in terms of the production runs, how much just stock of Hasbro stuff was showing up at Ross and Burlington and Ollie's, all those discount stores in Q4 of 2023. It was a significant amount. So I'm sure Hasbro was looking at that and it's like, we can't have that sort of miscalculation happen again.
The Velocitron stuff, I think, is a mishandling by Walmart, and I think that's more of an anomaly. But the stuff coming directly from Hasbro, I mean, part of that is because Ollie's warehouse is about 40 miles away from Hasbro's warehouse. So, like, they share, and that's it, and that happens, and that's okay. But like Phil said, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. It was a lot of stuff from across all lines: Transformers and Black Series and Marvel and Star Wars and Army Guys and Snake Terrorists, and just it was a whole bunch of stuff. I think a part of that was to say, can we get these liquidated and onto the books for the fiscal year of 23? That's also how they seem to do that. That surprise, hey, there's a couple HasLabs available on Pulse. There were like, whatever, 10 Unicrons. That's a couple $1,000 to get on there. I don't know. It just, it looked like they were trying to push stuff out the door to try and inflate the numbers as they were laying off all those people. But also, I think it's a miscalculation in demand.
Well,
we'll see.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at the Velocitron, that's one thing, but we also, and that was more of a 2022 line. The Toxitron stuff, that kind of kept getting replenished, and the Toxitron, which was a 2023 line, that never necessarily hit Ross, but it was very plentiful, and in some places is still very plentiful. Walmart especially just really seemed to overestimate the demand with their capsule waves. I mean, the amount of the horror cons or whatever that was the Walmart exclusive, the Beast Wars repaints, like those are still clogging shelves at most of the Rosses near me.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think part of it is like I don't think that most of the retailers just care about toys at all. I mean,
That's what it seems
like again, there's no specialty retailers for toys, right? And I mean, I feel like toys is somewhat of a shrinking business. Again, just in general, like overall, like the toy aisle, and so it's just something that they're probably not investing a lot of money in. And I don't think to Walmart it matters, like if it's a toy or if it's a suitcase or if it's like a quart of oil, like they don't care. They're just looking for product to get out the door. So I mean, that's just when I know Zaldron's mentioning about like retailers not putting product on the shelves. Like I think that there's probably part of that, but I think that they just don't care.
Yeah, agreed. At least based on the behavior in my area.
Right. And I think like the other thing too is like with Hasbro just in general, like we need to do a whole show about that. But like I mean they've had so many missteps over the last few years. I mean I think that they tried to expand the reach beyond toys and like all of those have not really worked out at all, when they're trying to buy those media companies and such. And so, I think that now like they saw that bump with COVID and then like, they probably thought, oh, well, maybe this is going to continue. And then they're like, oh crap, no, it's not. So.
Yeah, it's. I'm not saying it's like something that people should really be taking it on the chin proverbially for in terms of the miscalculations. Now with Hasbro, some people did lose their jobs, unfortunately. But yeah, you just had a screwed up system over the last 3 or 4 years in regards to COVID and then the supply chain issues and everything that happened with that, the surge of pandemic toy buying. Some of it was actual people interested in buying toys. Some of it was people who were like, hey, this is something I can make a quick buck on because this stuff was harder to find. And not everyone wanted to go out of their house to go into a Walmart and hunt down some exclusive, action figure pack. So it just got to be a really hard environment to tell what was truthful numbers and real numbers and which was artificially inflated. And now we're starting to get the opposite of that. And we'll see if this is something that is actually going to make mass retail toys difficult to find, or if it's just going to be like, all right, pre-orders sell out, if you're not quick about it, but yeah, you'll find it on a shelf at Target or Walmart pretty easily kind of thing.
Well, I think the other thing is that, Hasbro has been, and again, I realize that we're like straying way off topic about this, but like Hasbro was so prolific and was really good about getting out like all these toys that we wanted, whether or not it was in Star Wars, Marvel Legends, Snake Terrorists, like Transformers, on down the line, right? And so we've really gotten like with Transformers, like I mean, a good chunk. Like if you've been collecting since Combiner Wars, like you've checked a lot of boxes, right? And now we're seeing a lot of repaints and or you're seeing things that like, maybe it's not necessarily number one on your priority list. And so I think that like when you combine that with the fact that like, people probably may not have as much disposable income as they had a few years ago. Um, like I think that kind of combines to be like, well, that explains some of your lower toy sales too, and also like the movies aren't the same cash cows that they were, you know, 10, 20 years ago, where the 2007 movie where they could just Hasbro could literally print money with the releases they had.
Yeah, I think at like Target, I'm not sure about Walmart, but you're finally seeing the Transformers and movies toys get knocked down to clearance level prices. Those things have been on the shelves for close to a year, and some of it again just kind of clogging up shelves, and finally seeing those prices, seeing those toys priced to clear up that space.
I didn't see movie stuff at my Targets. Saw a couple Battle Masters, a lot of those walkie talkies, and that's it. That's all that's ever showed up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about like the studio series or any of that sort of thing. I'm talking about like the ones that are aimed more for the kids. Those have been at my Targets at least pretty substantially, and then Walmart even more so. Walmart even more so in my area had a ton of those, not like two-step changers, but like the more simple, Transformers, like the Nightbirds and the Cheetors, just a boatload of them.
Right, but I
don't
mean, I think
do Walmart
the
anymore.
other thing too is like I feel like Hasbro somewhat has to decide if they are a toy company or if they're a toy and media company, because if they're a toy company, to me I feel like producing the cartoons and just throwing them up on YouTube so they can get as much reach as possible is the right move, which is what they did with the old Bumblebee show, right? Like that was all over the place with some of that stuff. But then the the new Earthspark, which is a really cool cartoon and has really good production values, but like it's locked behind a paywall, and so then like I don't feel like it has had the reach that the old Bumblebee, whatever that was. What was that called again?
Cyberverse.
Cyberverse or whatever. Yeah, like I don't feel like it had the reach that did, because of that. Because like again, that Cyberverse show, I knew multiple like parents with kids that would talk about, oh, my kid caught this show and now they're really into it and they went and bought the toys. And I literally have not heard of anyone watching Earthspark outside of our like, like fandom, like as far like our bubble or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we've got another movie coming out this year that's going to be the Transformers 1 animated movie. So we'll see if that creates any sort of additional hype that we didn't see last year with some of the media. I don't know. It's really difficult to say right now what's going to work and what's not. And I'm sure Hasbro is paying very, very close attention to it.
Yep. Okay, but the Star Seekers. So for the Star Seekers, are you guys excited about those? Are you getting
Yes.
all of them, or
Yes.
are there any ones where you're like, oh no, I'm skipping. It's not for me.
Like them all.
Who's the Cyclonus repaint?
Eric.
Yeah, he's I don't know. And then
they pronounce it differently at Hasbro, which was very interesting.
Yeah, and then Cannonball sort of doesn't do much for me either.
Oh man, I love that.
Um,
But I'm a Cybertron boy, so you know.
Yeah.
yeah, but Filch and Lockdown both look really nice, and I'm looking forward to those.
Lockdown is way overdue. I know Christian, you had mentioned too, about oh gosh, I just spaced on the name. Who was it you're talking? Oh, Drift.
Oh yeah.
Like the I mean, obviously we've gotten plenty of Transformers movie drifts, but we have not gotten a whatever comic drift. For
Yeah, the last time he was released was in 2010. It's pretty crazy. I have a note to pull that up later for something that leaked out last night. So let me put a pin in that one.
Okay, but yeah, so Lockdown is it's really
Lockdown
nice
good?
to get him. I feel like when we saw that mold originally, they were like, oh man, that would make a pretty nice Lockdown. I think did we see some customs of that too? Somewhat.
I don't recall.
Maybe not.
That'd
But it
be
was
an
a pretty
expensive toy to
popular
custom.
theory.
That Axle Grease wave still has not really shown up.
I think that's the one that got damaged in that warehouse flood.
Okay.
Or there was a shipping container accident. I've heard both.
Yeah.
That flood definitely happened, and we saw pictures of it, which was pretty crazy. But the container thing, I don't think has been acknowledged anywhere.
Well, if there was any Hasbro containers in Baltimore last week, those are lost.
I think they usually come in on the East Coast.
I think you're right, but yeah.
Zaldron also mentions about the Cyberverse version of Drift. So, yeah, I mean, I will say,
And the robots in disguise version of Drift. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I will say on some of that is I don't think they had a lot of crossover of like some of the characters on that show. Like I know about Bumblebee for a while, like that they weren't doing him in Generations because he was, featured so heavily in those shows.
I
Drift
really
is an interesting character because he's gotten, for a fairly new character, like 3 very different iterations. The movie Drift is the blue, he's the triple changer, he's the samurai sort of thing. Then you've got the robots in disguise Drift, which is also a samurai thing, but is the orange sports car. So just when you change up the color palette like that, that to me is a big deal. And then you had the the IDW version, which is that I don't know if you want to say ninja samurai sort of thing, but it's just not. You've had 3 very different versions, and Cyberverse kind of had the IDW version aesthetic a little bit, but you didn't have that toy out as a like mainline deluxe sort of figure, so it just sort of gets kind of lost in the shuffle there. But yeah, I mean, as opposed to a character that I would say is pretty similar in terms of Windblade. Windblade's been very consistent in her appearances across all the different media that she's appeared in. She's been in quite a bit of media, not as prominent like Drift was with the movies, but for all the kind of recent cartoons, she was front and center in those.
Well, I think part of that too, though, is that I feel like Hasbro has made an effort to produce more female characters. Toys, and they don't have as many to draw on. Like how many Transformers are there's like hundreds of, quote unquote male Transformers, and there's probably like I don't know 20 or 30 or something like that of the female. Like I'm trying to think of off the top of my head how many there would be. But like,
do you want to count BotBots?
Well, not counting BotBots.
A solid 40% of those are women.
Right, but like what I'm saying is like in the main line or whatever, like right. I mean we've also seen like a bajillion RCs, like we've probably seen more Elitas than we would have in the past, things like that.
And still not an appropriate one.
Yeah, I guess my point not necessarily is how much we've seen of Windblade versus Drift, but Windblade being consistent in her appearance.
Yeah,
that is what you're saying.
Yeah. Like Windblade is sort of like, Optimus Prime has a certain set of
Optimus Prime is that red
consistent
track.
aesthetics.
Bumblebee is that yellow car.
Yeah,
It's a sports car
sure.
sometimes. It's a Beetle-like car sometimes. Windblade is the red turbine jet.
Exactly.
Drift isn't the white drifting race car with swords.
Right.
He's that. He's the blue or red sports car voiced by Ken Watanabe. He's the orange sports car in the cartoon with the minicons. That's a lot of different things for Drift.
He's also a helicopter. Don't forget about that.
Sometimes, yeah. That one time.
Right.
I think he's not a triple changer anymore in the last night.
I forgot he was
never
red
watched
and
that
black.
movie again.
I forgot he was red and black as well as blue in the movies.
Yeah, he changed from the Bugatti to the Mercedes too. All right. I'm moving on to March 21st. I have one more Star Raider thing to say. That cannonball, we're going to see that as Cybertron Red Alert at Walgreens this fall. Bank on it.
Okay.
That's a lot of retooling. We know that Walgreens loves their emergency characters. Also, that week,
Walgreens character last year. Are you sure that we're going to continue getting Walgreens characters?
they have discontinued like Marvel Legends stuff, but Transformers do well for them, so they're going to continue.
Yeah,
The last year's Walgreens character was Medics. Well, so it'll be the same base mold, but what's really interesting about that is that same week, Mark from Hasbro put out his original pitch for Cannonball, which was a retool and redeco of the Reactivate Soundwave mold. That was not available for production at the time, so they moved it onto the Skids and Medics and Crankcase mold. So that was kind of interesting. But again, they've done a lot of retooling. They have the Cyber Key. They have the Cyber Key port thing. They've got the new head. They've got the new hand. They're going to use that as Red Alert, and it's going to go to Walgreens because that's what they do.
Well, Mark said in his post about Medics how there were multiple emergency responder vehicles that Hasbro showed to Walgreens as ideas. Yep. And so, there to that point, he basically said like the other ideas that they showed Walgreens that they didn't choose for 2023 will likely see the light of day in forthcoming year. So yeah, I think that's and I believe Red Alert has been on some leak lists. So
Armada Red Alert is next year's mainline Voyager.
Okay.
One. So same character, different body.
Yeah. So wait, which one did you say then?
Cybertron Red Alert.
Cybertron Red Alert for yeah. Okay, yeah.
It was originally redecoed into Cannonball.
Yes, I forgot the those were two different toys, but I mean, honestly, I could see it still be the same mold. I mean, unless they somehow use a Jurassic Park mold, which I think a lot of people thought the
Armada Red Alert is a new mold. It looks like it'll be a Voyager, whereas Cannonball is a deluxe.
Yeah.
Do you think it would probably be a retool of like Ironhide and?
I would doubt it. They don't really look the same.
I'm just trying to think what does the Armada get repainted into?
Power Links Red Alert or Movieverse Inferno or Energon Prowl, the first Prowl, not the F1 Racer Prowl, who's also Mirage, but not really. Anyway, also revealed that week were the arms of Road Pig. So Road Pig is part of that assortment. He's the fourth deluxe to round out that wave, that case. And Mark put his arms on lockdown to make the Digitigrade lockdown legs from Revenge of the Fallen. And yeah, that's all we've seen of Road Pig so far. There's also Leader Thunderdron somewhere in there. What are they going to do to Voyager Thunderdron to make him a leader? We don't know. Probably a pack-in dude.
Maybe and then Road Pig appears to be a recolor, remold of Crash Bar, yeah.
Yeah. Which is, hopefully it's remolded enough to have a big old windscreen. I'd like that. We'll see. Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
They'll be out over the summer, so it shouldn't be too much longer before we see him. All right. Move on to March 21st.
Sure.
All right, so this is week 3 of 4 of the streams, and the last one that wasn't pre-recorded. So we finally got to order Legacy Wave 2. Very, very delayed. Started appearing at the end of February overseas, and we got to order them on the 21st. And they're like, all right, they'll be here in June or July if you're Gears. And they're arriving this week, which was very weird. I mean, we kind of expected it since they'd been showing up, but like, I still can't fathom why they held them back so long. And I know they had this thing scheduled, but this is where you kind of see it start to break apart. Like, why are you holding something just to have this event when you can sell your product? That's the part I don't understand.
Well, like, those figures are only showing up somewhat limited quantities. Like, I know I've already gotten a Gears from BBTS. I think Sandstorm's shown up multiple places, right, too, but
showed up at my house today.
Limited. Where'd you get Sandstorm from?
Pulse.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So that happened. That was not a major deal for anything because we all knew they were coming. They needed to have announced them about 2 months ago to keep the normal cadence that they have.
Right.
As you guys mentioned earlier, and we'll get to later, Wave 3 is starting to leak already. So kind of.
Well, I think part of the thing that probably messed things up is just like Toy Fair used to always be in February, right? And now, like, it's, I don't even remember when it's supposed to be, but not February.
They didn't have one in 2020. They're not going to have one in 2024.
Right.
I don't know. But we did order them, and they are coming now, which is good and bad because they're coming at the same time as a whole bunch of other stuff. But that's another problem.
Has Sandstorm been the one that's the most consistent in terms of its shipping?
I can't say if any of them have been more or less consistent than the others.
Okay.
I got
the Voyagers,
the Voyagers, and one of the Deluxes today.
Yeah,
so
the
I don't know.
Voyagers have been consistently shipping, I feel like, too.
Okay.
And the other 2 Deluxes will be here tomorrow. So I can't say. I mean, it looks like Pulse got all of them on the same day, and they're shipping them out this week.
Yeah.
I have to say, I for some reason kept thinking Shard was going to be a Voyager and was surprised when he was listed as a Deluxe. I just, when I saw that, I'm sorry. I just kept thinking that was more of a Voyager size sort of looking toy. So I'm curious to see how that looks in Deluxe scale.
I'll tell you tomorrow. But yeah, the Voyagers for this one were Silverbolt and Cybertron Starscream. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I think it's interesting too that, you know, they've been including a cyber key with the figures now, right? Like, even though they don't necessarily like do anything, but like it's interesting now that they're doing, because like I'm trying to remember, I don't feel like they originally did that, and I can't remember what originally Cybertron figures came out.
There's 2. There's Cybertron Defense Hotshot, which was a select release from Siege, and also from Siege was Galaxy Upgrade Optimus Prime, which is just Galaxy Force Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Did not come with cyber keys. So now they do, which is cool. Also Metroplex.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
I'm wrong.
It's not just been 2, it's been 3.
It's been
Metroplex.
Metroplex. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Core class drill bit win. Anyway.
No cyber key with him either. So
no.
Yeah, it is a lot easier to throw that as a pack in than tool and make a tiny little Transformer minicon like Armada had for their play pattern. So yeah, it makes sense that the cyber keys would be coming. And then, you know, the Transformers Energon, you know, that's going to be a really difficult, you know, toy line to redo, just because those guys were, the play patterns with that was so different. Both Decepticons and Autobots having different play patterns, and to do that crazy combining thing, I don't think they'll try and recreate.
Maybe. Probably not.
I hope not.
Maybe.
I'd like to see some of those toys without that gimmick in there. Because the Maltos and Twitch and
oh yeah, B.
Oh yeah, Maltos and Bumblebee, like they use that same play pattern. It just
the thing. It looks bad.
It still looks awful. Yeah, they've
Yeah.
not. That's not something that's gotten better over the years with like, oh, improved engineering. Like, nope, that still sucks.
Nope, still bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a very surprising stream. Surprising in that our sellout that week was Gears. Gears seemed to go pretty quickly, but he's an 84 dude, and that's how it works.
Right.
But it kind of seems like there eventually were restocks and there were enough to go around. I guess we'll see. All right, now we're moving on to the 28th, the fourth and final stream, which was pre-recorded. The big draw to that one was the vinyl re-release of the G1 show score, brought to you by so they interviewed the artist. They had some marketing lady who seemed like she didn't really care about Transformers but was trying, interview this artist who made a really beautiful piece of art for the slipcover of the new vinyl, and he was the most boring person they could have possibly interviewed. And I'm really sorry if he's listening, but you got to be more gregarious. You got to bring something. You got to bring some intonation. You got to stop mumbling. It was bad. I mean, it was painful. They talked to him for maybe 15, 17, almost 20 minutes. It was bad. Again, I'm excited for that release. It went up for listing on Amazon. It went up for pre-order this past Monday, so you can get it. I'm excited to have it, but boy, was that interview not good.
Now, I can't remember. Did they say, is that also going up for streaming?
Yes, it will be on streaming for the first time ever, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I imagine it'll release that same day in July when the discs come out.
Well, I was thinking because I think that there's a CD release of that as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like $40 or something. I was like, oh my God. But of course, it's like 4 discs, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I don't know about you, but, before when you're like, oh man, they're releasing a vinyl, like why would they do that? And now I think vinyl might actually be more relevant than CDs.
Yes. They lasted in 2018, which vinyl was coming back then, but now it's like really back.
Right.
It's another one of those COVID things where people got into I did.
Right. But like, do you actually have a CD player? I mean, I'm sure you probably do, but.
A CD player? No, I don't have anything here that can play a CD.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that's funny, right? Is you have a record player but no CD player.
I actually don't presently have a record player, but I'll be getting one soon.
Yeah. But I think it's funny that like now it's almost flipped where there's probably just as many people with record players now as there are people with CD players because, as I can't remember, as Ron or Zaldron or whatever was mentioning that Walmart is getting rid of their physical media section. I think Best Buy did too. Right, so yeah, it's pretty much done.
I forgot something else we did on the 21st. I'm so sorry.
What?
We ordered Jack in the Box from Target.
Oh, Wheeljack?
Yep. Orders Wheeljack, and he seems to be shipping out to people now, but not to me.
Yeah, I got my Wheeljack the other day.
Yeah.
Must be nice. God bless you.
I mean, I think that release is actually pretty cool. Like the fact that you can put Bumblebee inside of him, like it's kind of cool. It's kind of neat. Like they figured out a way.
So back to the 28th when they did the vinyl thing, which was okay. I mean, that interview was very bad. I think they should look at how they do that again and try to give better questions or to do some coaching or something. I mean, it was pre-recorded. They could have done any amount of editing to make it better, and they didn't. So, anyway.
So Christian, can I back up? When you said the 28th, like the big thing they talked about was that vinyl set. Were you being sarcastic?
No.
Okay. Because, I mean, like Zaldron was pointing out, like there were some actual, like, toy announcements that day.
I'm getting there.
I understand that. I guess
he's going in order. It was the first 15 minutes. Look,
yeah.
Christian had to suffer through it, so we're now suffering through him talking about it. Okay.
I guess I just would not qualify that as like the big announcement of that day.
I'm really excited about it.
That's fair. I think
they devoted
the
more than
crossover
half the stream to it.
That day.
So
what's that?
They devoted more than half the stream to it. So
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes you devote a lot of time to something you need to push harder.
Okay. Well, the next thing they talked about was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover, which is called Party Wallop. He turns into a van. You guys are probably better qualified to talk about this than I am because I don't know anything about the turtles.
Yeah, it
You're
turns
not
into
Turtles fan?
Ninja Turtles
No.
party wagon.
Cool.
So Party Wallop turns into the party wagon. And so this is, I think, a really neat set because you get the ability to make it essentially 5 different characters. You can have it sort of like a non-Ninja Turtle head that just is a green head. And then it gives you the ability to swap out 4 different caps to make it Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael, or Leonardo. So, if you want 4 party wallops to be all 4 turtles, you can go order 4 of those, and there you go. So, or if you just want to get one and swap it out, the thing comes with each of the 4 Ninja Turtles sort of iconic weapons. So if you want to have a pose with the Donatello mask and the bow staff, you can. Or if Raphael's your guy and you want the red mask on the sides, you can do that too. So it's I've been a bit critical of the crossovers lately because I think the quality of those toys has been not so great, but the design on this is really, really nice. We'll see what it's like in hand.
So what
I was really surprised at the price too, that was only $50.
And that's supposed to be like kind of like a Voyager scale, right? But of course, all the accessories it comes with is like, it's a big chunk of stuff.
I think like height wise, it would be comparison to a Voyager, but he's a fat boy.
Right.
He's got some chunk on him.
Right. But just again, like all the accessories that he comes with. So, well, and the genius of that too is I mean, there's going to be a lot of people getting 4 of those to make all the turtles, or 5, whatever. Type of deal. So I don't know. I think I just need to display him with a red mask and pretend that he can be all the turtles in their original form, right?
There you go. Do the Mirage, monochromatic thing.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really cool thing. I mean, we had seen that teased. Now they talked about like the Knight Rider thing. Was that confirmed during the stream, or is that just like
that's a leak out the next day?
Okay.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
Knight Rider apparently.
Yeah, that had been on a leak list where it was called Knight. Like they were talking about there was a leak list with code names, and the Ninja Turtle one's code name was Renaissance, which people were very clever to realize. Oh, who are the 4?
Right.
All 4 turtles are named after Renaissance painters. So I was not clever enough to think of that, and someone else pointed out, I was like, oh, duh, yeah, how did I not think about that? But the one that was pretty obvious was Knight being the code name for one of them for a crossover coming out this year. So we're going to get another throwback to before Christian was alive in terms of a crossover toy. It'll be interesting to see if they do another version of the Party Wagon with the Ninja Turtle Metalhead, who is like the robot that the Ninja Turtles built. So that seems, would make a lot of sense for them to do that. But yeah, I mean, you've got a big audience in terms of the Ninja Turtle fan base, a big audience in terms of the Transformers fan base, and a big just nostalgia audience that'll be craving that. And to me, one of the coolest things about that release was it came out when Target had a pretty nice coupon going on. So, was able to right out of the gate get that ordered on a discount.
Ron says also that a Star Wars crossover was hinted as well. So, I mean, I think in general that seeing that there's been some success with these crossovers, like I would think most of these brands, it's like why not license your brand to do a crossover? It's not gonna hurt.
Ectotron is also getting another reissue.
Yeah.
It's the original version, not the Afterlife version, though. The last thing they talked about,
ironic because you just had a new movie come out with the Afterlife version of Ecto
Right.
1. So,
I think they've cleaned it up, but I haven't seen the movie yet.
I don't know. I'm not as good at picking out which one's which. I've got like one of my good friends is like could immediately tell you like which version it is.
I do.
Yeah.
But it is odd that they wouldn't do it like for them. I mean, I guess it's with the movie, but like it seems like an afterthought. It's coming out in the summer. The movie will be out of theaters by then. Weird.
Maybe it'll be on time for it to be streaming.
Maybe. And then the final thing they showed was Target's 4-pack, which we also ordered that morning. So it was a month of streams, a month of ordering stuff at Target in the morning. And that 4-pack is Prime Cliff Jumper versus Prototype Colors Tarantulas, Squeeze Play, which is made from the Titans Return Mind Wipe mold, and basically the same Tarn.
Hey, there's some slightly different decos on that Tarn.
It's the
Slightly
Cyberverse
different
Tarn.
coming out at the same
Yeah,
time as
Cyberverse.
reissue Tarn.
Right.
Squeeze Play looks great in robot mode, and that monster mode looks god awful. I
Looks
hate
fine.
the Mind Wipe toy. I think the Mind Wipe toy is the crappiest of those Titans Return Headmasters, and the fact that we're seeing it now for the third time just bugs the crap out of me.
I think it's fine. That new crab head is cool. Crab
Yeah,
shake,
but it
whatever
sticks up
thing he
too
is.
high. Like the head is supposed to be more like hunched over the shoulders, not like sticking up like a cobra head.
I think they wanted him to blend in with his friends. So that's what they've done. It is weird, though. I mean, Titans Return is now, 8 years old?
Yeah.
So it's weird to pull those molds forward so far. I mean, it was weird to see it when they did Fangry. It's weird to see it when they're doing Squeeze Play. Squeeze Play comes with Browning. So I guess you
feel
could say
like that
Cancer comes with Browning.
You know, like when you're doing Headmasters, you know. But, Ron also mentions that Tarn does get a sword, so don't forget
Tarn does
about
get the
that.
sword from Bludgeon. Yeah, that one really does kind of make me upset. I mean, I know it's like a different thing in Cyberverse or wherever it's from. I think Cyberverse. But it's like, it looks basically the same, and they're issuing the normal colors Tarn again at basically the same time.
Right.
I know that those decisions probably didn't come at the same time. It just sort of worked out that way. But man, if you're doing that mold, you have to put that mold in the pack. Why is it not Bonsaitron? Or why is it not, something else? I thought Overload from Robots in Disguise, the dude with the Cyclone minicons. Just something different, Why is it basically the same color, same dude? I don't know. It's odd.
Well, I just wonder if they just, because these should be coming out about the same time, right? I don't know if maybe originally when they planned it that they thought they were going to come out at different times, I guess. I don't know. But, like, I guess at the same time that it's like, whatever, all of us that are going to get a 4-pack, you might grumble about it, but, whatever. So, and again, I think I ended up, using a coupon on that too. So
yeah, that was a great
hopefully
coupon because you could reuse it. It wasn't a one-time use only thing.
I've had issues with Target fulfilling orders with coupons before. Apparently, that's not everyone's experience. It's just me. So I made a backup order just in case.
I've had issues with it as well, but I'll roll the dice. I mean,
right.
I've been able to find that stuff in stores pretty easily. So, yeah.
I don't feel like I've ever had trouble finding Target exclusives, and part of the reason is that, again, they like release it as a 4-pack instead of like a wave, because just imagine if they did like Walmart where all of these were individual figures and they, short pack, whatever.
Squeeze play
or whatever. So
yeah,
but
so that's cool. And the final thing that happened is they went to WonderCon, which I don't even know where that was. Do you guys know where that was?
I think it's in LA.
Is that Los Angeles? Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, they went there, and they revealed the next Studio Series wave, which is Gamerverse Sideswipe, concept art Bumblebee movie Sunstreaker. Those guys have been on shelves since the end of February, even in the US, which is cool. Voyager Bumblebee movie Shockwave, and then unfortunately canceled 86 Swoop. He's not coming out. They're just not going to do it. Yeah, I mean they did the 4 Dinobots, but like Swoop is canceled. He's out. And I don't even know why they showed it. I guess just to rub salt in the wound a little bit deeper.
They want to make the other Christians super angry.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Swoop is not coming out. They did show it. They showed the prototype. It was with the other Dinobots. It looks nice, but you can't buy him. Sorry. If you don't know, I'm going to end this bit now. There was this undercurrent for the past at least a month, probably 2 months, maybe even 3 months, that because no Swoops had leaked out, because they hadn't announced it, that, oh no, Swoop is going to get canceled. They're not going to make him. It's like, that was the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Right.
Well, that's the stupidest Transformers thing I've heard this year. How about that? But yeah, they did announce him. He went up for order today. Seemed to go pretty fast, and would come back, then went pretty fast again. So hopefully if you needed him, you got him. He looks like a Dinobot. He comes with Grimlock's sword. Oh, I didn't talk about that. Also, you could order the comic Deco Shockwave on the 28th, which was cool. Grimlock is not up for order yet. He'll be up this month sometime, and he comes with Slags and Sludge's swords, as well as his own, I think. So if you gotta buy multiple Dinobots to get all the swords, or you've gotten the upgrade kits along the way because Grimlock's been out for like 4 years. But yeah, swords. Swoop is coming with swords. He comes with a stand. He looks a little slighter than the other Dinobots, but he always does. His wings look pretty big, and then he comes with a stand. He comes with the swords. He comes with a gun. Or not gun, missiles. It looks nice. And there's going to be a red one that comes from Walmart later.
That to me feels like a bit of a coup, because normally red colored toys are Target things, but whatever.
That is kind of weird, but yeah, they said the red deck was coming from Walmart.
Yeah. I feel like I'm a little bit in the minority that I'm not super enamored with Swoop. He just doesn't. The proportions just aren't quite right for
he looks a little chunky to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He does look a little chunky. You're right.
Those hips especially should be a little more slighter. The leg backpack thing and the pterodactyl mode like gives him like a really big butt looking deal, and
yeah,
the wings aren't the right shape either. So it's like I know I'm picking at nits overall. It's a darn good looking toy, but it's just for being the one that gets us across the finish line for the Dinobots, it's maybe the weakest of the 5.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it looks pretty accurate or whatever, and all the Dinobots so far have been pretty fantastic. So
yeah, I think you can call out Snarl's tail as a problem.
Yeah. And I think that's the point, Lucas, is that they have been so great. So like this one being a bit underwhelming and being the last one just maybe sticks out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right. They've had 4 other shots to make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll probably be fine in person, and you can pose him just a little bit, and it'll make a lot of that proportion stuff kind of disappear or hide.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably be fine. But at least from the pictures, he does look a little chunky. But he exists, and it'll be good.
Yeah, too boxy, I guess, would be my...
Yeah, that's probably a better way to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, let's just burn the place down.
You can burn your place down. I'll be here.
No, I mean, like just Hasbro. We'll just burn Hasbro to the ground because Swoop is too boxy. That's an appropriate response to that, right?
I don't think so.
Okay. Just like one distribution center?
Nah.
One delivery truck.
How about you just graffiti on the delivery truck?
Okay.
What if you just write a sternly worded letter?
I was gonna go all the way down to saying I'll just burn my own shipper box, but I think you guys have better ideas.
Leave a slightly displeased Instagram comment for Mark.
Okay.
There you go. Oh boy.
I'm gonna fly to Japan and slap the Takara designer. It's so rude. Just like no context,
No
find out where he lives, show up at his door, ring the doorbell, slap him, walk away, and just fly back home.
Awful.
So just out of curiosity, because like I'm not on Instagram that much, right? But you mentioned about leaving Mark an Instagram comment. Like,
Sure.
what are his comments like? Because I know that you're on his Instagram a fair amount. Like, like whatever, reading comments from him and all that type of thing. Like, is it usually pretty clean, or is it similar to the comments that we get like on some of these streams?
Like the comments he gives or the comments he gets?
The comments he gets.
I don't know.
Because I feel like Instagram, well, really any social media comments are just a cesspool. So I was just curious if like Mark is actually soliciting feedback from his like Instagram comments. It's like I can't imagine how horrible that is.
I don't make it a habit of hanging out in comment sections anywhere, so
That's probably good.
I'm not
That's
able
probably
now to tell you what he gets there.
Maybe I'll
Yeah,
go look at that tonight because I'm really curious because like boy howdy, like I just feel like any of those is just again people.
He posts some great stuff. He did a
Yeah.
breakdown of Gears yesterday, and it has a reference to something I don't know what it is. Mysterians.
Yeah.
Which is probably another 80s toy property.
It's an interesting rabbit hole to go down and read about, because it's about the origins of Transformers in the United States, and yeah, it was a toy line that never actually existed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's a quick read. There's not a ton of information out there on it, but it's sort of one of those things that, there's at this point, the people who were involved in the actual decisions back then either are too old to remember or have passed away. But it is like, all right, which came first, the chicken or the egg sort of thing when it came to some of the original mini bots. And were they actually designed by Takara and Diaclone sort of things, or were these actually designed by a different toy company that Hasbro ended up buying, Knickerbocker Toys, I want to say, for a transforming toy line that they were going to do. And that's why you have 4 of the mini bots that have that M on them, because they were the Mysterions.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So if you look at,
I want to keep talking about that, but there's like other stuff to talk about.
Yeah, if you look at Puffer and Gears and Brawn and Windcharger, very different in terms of mini bot design compared to Bumblebee and Cliffjumper.
And Bumper.
And Bumper, yes.
That is interesting. I noticed the M thing, but never really attributed to anything.
Yeah.
Huh.
Huh.
I'm gonna dig on that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just another note from Mark's Instagram. He did a write-up on Shard recently, and he really tried to make that into a translucent crystal figure, but apparently the tolerances just wouldn't work, which is fine. He also called her originally Ruinatia, which is a pretty badass name.
And she was going to be pink originally, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Or like magenta.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, like,
would be kind of cool to see as a repaint.
It would be. I think my son had the reaction of seeing her in green of like, oh, it's a Springer upgrade, sort of thing. So that's an interesting choice for them to go green with that when you have a pretty prominent green and greenish yellow Autobot helicopter.
That's a good point.
And of course, we're all thinking about, Cybertron Bulkhead. Energon Bulkhead. Yeah. Because when we all think of green and greenish yellow Transformers Autobot helicopters, it's Energon Bulkhead.
Or Superlink Sprung is based on Springer anyway.
Yeah.
I want to see that thing get an upgrade, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, shard's cool, but I guess you know how we were seeing the fossilizers. Most of those came out clear eventually. It looks like the rocks can't do that. Mark said specifically that it was because of the break apart and combine as armor thing, which I think. I mean, I'm extrapolating here, but you know how the Junkions were the first ones where you could transform them without breaking them apart. I think whatever they've done for that, and now the rock armorizers makes it so they can't do clear because more parts have to move, as opposed to just breaking apart. I'm surmising based on that one comment, but that's the difference.
That's as good of a theory as I can think of. Yeah, because that is a different engineering mechanism of the fossilizers to the to the Rock Lord wannabes.
Right. So I don't know. It couldn't be clear, but it does have a clear cockpit, which is cool.
So she's got that going for her.
She's got that going for her, which is nice.
Yeah.
I think that's all I've got. I mean, it was a busy month of stuff, but it also wasn't busy because we didn't see a lot of new stuff.
Right.
You know, through leaks or through stuff that got released elsewhere or through stuff they'd already said, you know.
Yeah, I mean, even stuff Mark talked about was like Mark had addressed some of these on his own channel before we saw them, you know, in these reveals, like Sandstorm. And like Sandstorm did have an official reel. What was it, like IGN or?
Yeah, it was that same deal with that big 40th anniversary bunch of stuff release.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it felt very much like they just seem to be behind the eight ball with almost every of those live streams except for the final one, and that only got spoiled by maybe 12 hours in terms of Party Wallop and that 4-pack.
Right.
So
I think it's probably because they recorded it that day and it got out that way.
Yeah.
Recorded it the previous day when it leaked out.
Yeah.
And Target had put up the listings in the background so they'd be ready to go, and someone mined that, and you know, that's what happened.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of cool stuff. There's not too much I'm disappointed about. Most of the mainline stuff, in fact, I don't think any of the mainline stuff I ordered up front. I'm going to wait for some sales. The Party Wallop and the 4-pack I ordered up front, but all the legacy stuff and the Studio Series stuff, I'll wait for some sales on them. Which I guess we're supposed to get another sale from Target this coming weekend, starting on Sunday. Another Target sale. I think it's just like a one item kind of thing versus the that you know, essentially would have come out to be like 24% off for the 20 off of 75.
Something like that.
So, you know, there's some cool stuff out there, and you know, a lot of folks are finding the wheel jacks and the blasters at their Targets pretty easily. So, you know, if you've been kind of on the fence of whether or not to get those, you're going to have some financial incentive starting Sunday, it looks like.
I didn't find Wheeljack.
You
I looked for Wheeljack tonight while I was out getting some groceries, and he was not there.
I mean, the Wheeljack and blaster thing are kind of tough because they did show up on shelves before their release date. And so you did have people who were able to scan another item and you know, walk out of the store with Wheeljack and blaster before they were supposed to be sold, because they were street dated for April 1st. Some people believe very strongly that is a heinous offense, and to which just like, all right, if you're not stealing it and it's already on the shelf, that's, you know, okay. But yeah, you know, so certain Targets were very, very strict about not putting things out until the release date, and other Targets just, you know, hey, these are people making a minimum wage or a little bit above minimum wage, so they just they don't care. And I don't blame them for such.
I feel like it's so frustrating when they do that. And honestly, I don't even care about transfers necessarily, but like I've been in that situation with my kids that, I agree to buy them a toy, and we go up and we try to scan it, and they're like, "Nope, sorry, we can't sell it to you." And it's like, why would you put it out on the shelf if you can't sell it?
Yeah. Yeah. So my personal opinion is if you're doing the scanning a different item and you're paying the same price, if the item's on the shelf, then that's you're screwing up Target's inventory numbers, but then they shouldn't put it on the shelf to begin with. If something's on the shelf and there's a price sticker there,
right?
Why, don't do that. So, I don't know. I think most people are of the opinion that that's not the most heinous crime in the world, but other folks have different opinions on that. So, yeah. Don't scan something lower price. Don't be that person. Don't, because then you're legit just stealing. But if you're scanning something that is the same price, then it's on the shelf. Then yeah. If you're paying like some dude like to grab it off the warehouse for you and slip it out back for some cash in their hand, that's not necessarily honest and moral either. But yeah, if it's on the store shelf, then I don't see why it's not free game.
Yep, I agree with that.
Wave 3 leaks have started to hit.
Yes, we saw Sideburn last night. That's right. I need to put a pin in the drift. I'm going to unpin the drift thing. So, Sideburn has had a toy more recently than Drift has. He's an older character. Drift's last toy was in 2010. Sideburn's was in 2011.
Well,
Who was the other
Sideburn?
Sideburn?
We mean in generations. Again, Drift has had many other characters as we like.
G1 Drift has not had a toy since 2010.
G1 Drift. Okay, sure.
Okay. So what was the other release of Sideburn?
He was a Collectors Club exclusive repaint of Classics Hot Rod. He was the subscription, the membership figure for that year.
Yeah, no, I remember that was a cool redeco.
It was.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Collectors Club, while it being official, sort of not really. I mean, I don't know. It is official, but
I like the look, Christian. You're like, what the hell?
That's fine. I know people will disagree with me. To me, I feel like anything that's Collectors Club is like I kind of should have an asterisk next to it. It's not mainline retail release. It's not. You can't go to Big Bad Toy Store or order it, or Amazon or Target or Walmart or any of those places. It's a more niche exclusive. Again,
I think you can get it at a Big Bad Toy Store and some of the stuff, couldn't you, or no? I guess you could you?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I can't go to Walmart or Target and buy anything I want from mainline now anyway.
Yeah.
But I could back then, so I guess that's fine.
Yeah. But yeah,
so Sideburn, he's a Shadow Striker repaint, which was anticipated.
Yeah.
Right.
I do really
thought
like
it would
colors.
have more remolding.
Nope.
He's got a new head, which is important.
Yeah.
And it already really looked like Sideburn, which is okay. I really thought they would kind of do something that would flip that vehicle mode around. Nope, it's just a repaint with a new head, which is fine. But
I figured.
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought the vehicle mode would look, well, not exactly like the Dodge Viper, more similar to it than it does.
Yeah.
And so yeah, just the new head is.
It still looks like Scran to me.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. For something that is such just a direct repaint, I was impressed when I saw it, last night with both modes. I will likely pick it up. I was quite surprised at how much I did like the look of that toy in both modes. A lot of paint on that toy.
Apparently the flames on the side look really good in person. The blue flames. I kind of think it might need an outline where it doesn't, but hey, if it looks good in person, then it looks good in person.
Yeah. Yeah, I've not seen it in person, nor do I know anyone who has. I've just seen the pictures, but yeah, it looks snazzy. It looks like, what it's supposed to be. Oh, we're talking about who else could Red Alert be? X-Brawn.
Maybe.
And could we get Bumblebee concept Sunstreaker into RID Prowl?
Maybe.
I mean, it's
So
like
at
they're
that point,
both
why wouldn't you just do a
kind of
new mold?
Lamborghinis.
Kinda. I actually see that Sunstreaker as more of a drift than a Prowl.
I mean, it could be both.
Both.
So I was going to mention drift or whatever. We did see a new Mastermind Creations drift. That was teased. So MMC will just be the one doing all the drifts.
The thing looked nice. I don't collect that sort of thing anymore, but yay.
Right. Well, at least with MMC, like it'll be fun to transform. But yeah, I was kind of shocked. I know earlier Ron also mentioned about DX9 coming out with a sideswipe and a prowl. And the thing that was most shocking to me is that DX9 is still a company that makes toys. Because I didn't realize that. I thought they were done. Like, I know that, what was it? Didn't they do like a re-release of their Omega Supreme and Minosaur, maybe? I think recently, but like still, like I didn't think that they were actually going to like be making new stuff. Like I thought it was going to be similar to Make Toys, where they just re-release like the same mold like 50 times, maybe painted a slightly different color.
Yeah, they could. I don't know. I don't know enough to know anything about that. Sorry.
Right. Which, I mean, I think it makes total sense because, like, Hasbro, hasn't really been releasing, like, a bunch of the MP cars again. Like, I don't know, like, they've been very slow. Like, when they kind of, like, reset the line a little bit and tried to do a little more cartoon accurate, you would have thought, like, they redid Prime and B and all that, but they have been pretty slow at churning you guys out.
Yeah, I mean, we just got Hoist, and I don't know who's up next after that.
Yeah. I guess we saw Hoist, but like again, I feel like it's been pretty like slow.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, it was like by the time you had one coming out, you knew who the next one was likely to be.
Right.
It was like maybe a 4 or 5 months turnaround in between, but you were starting to see the early like Japanese catalog pictures and that sort of thing. And so we've got this like MPG Power Master Prime Jinrai thing that might be an MP that it's like I don't understand what's going on with that toy. And I saw, I don't know if it was yesterday or today, some better pictures of it, and it's like it doesn't look great. I mean, I don't know. It depends on your take on it, but yeah, that'll be interesting when and how that comes out.
I didn't realize there's new pictures for that.
It's the same pictures, but they're just better resolutions. Where the first pictures that came out were like, you try to zoom in because they're small pictures, like it's all grainy and pixelated, and I don't know. Again, I can't remember if it was yesterday or this morning. Whereas the same picture, but you could zoom in and see more detail. And yeah, I mean, it's almost like the missing link toy of the Power Master Optimus Prime, like the main core truck, the cab of the truck, but just with like more articulation. And so it's I get why they went with that choice. It's a popular version of Optimus Prime. But it's bizarre looking because it's not trying to look like a real truck. Like especially the trailer looks weird.
Yep.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see when they fully reveal it, though.
Yeah.
Just to kind of see. So, I don't know.
But yeah, to your point, Lucas, between I'd say even more like X Transbots, more so even than fans toys. Like that's the place now to go get the MP scaled car bots.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it kind of makes sense that another third party company or multiple third party companies are jumping more into that realm, because that seems like sort of the meat and potatoes of Transformers is the Gen 1 car bots, and they've been kind of slow to come out.
Plus, yeah, I mean, plus I feel like it's been long enough, that like I think those types of collectors like probably want something new. So
Yeah, I'm happy with my MPs. I don't feel the need to upgrade. I mean, I do. There's distinct visual differences between
right.
what we're seeing from DX9 and what's already out there from Takara. So I could see someone preferring one versus the other, but yeah, I'm still happy.
I don't know if you guys saw, but you know how Takara is doing that like 3-pack of Megatron, Soundwave, and Shockwave. I don't know. Did
Yeah.
you happen to see comparison pictures on that?
A little. Soundwave looks nice.
Soundwave looks nice. Like I definitely prefer him. The Megatron doesn't look right to me. I
It
feel
looks
like
bad.
they need
The legs
to.
are bad.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's so weird because they have like two different colors of silver between
Yep.
like the legs and all that. So like the tank mode looks kind of weird and like the legs just don't look all that great. So I don't know. I'm really hoping whenever they release aren't they coming out with the Studio Series Megatron?
Yep. The
Hopefully
leader
that one
Megatron.
looks right.
That'll be next spring, I think. I think it's a year from now.
Yeah, hopefully that looks right. Cause like I don't know. I mean, I think the Siege Megatron is still, I guess, kind of my Megatron. But yeah, that Earthrise Megatron is just that mold is not doing it for me at all. I
No,
thought
the head
maybe that was gonna
especially.
fix it, but
Oh,
Nah, it's time to move on.
yeah.
yeah. The Siege Megatron's head is, I don't know, for my money, the best Megatron toy head that Hasbro's ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Did a lot of
I
things
don't
really
know.
well. I'm grateful for it. Earthrise did it less well, but looked good in green. And then they've had a couple really good decos of that. I like the minor one especially.
Yeah, the minor one's cool.
But it's time to say goodbye.
Right, right.
It's
I
been
mean, I think
6 years that
that's
mold.
I think that's one of those ones too where the masterpiece far outshines the mainline release of Megatron. I feel like I don't know. For me, it does. I think between the face and just the look of it in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, that's doing something that no other toy can really do, which is turn into the handgun and turn into a spitting image of the cartoon G1 Megatron.
Yeah. So, with all these releases that they released over the last month, what are you guys most excited for?
Party Wallop.
I really am excited for that vinyl set. I'm very interested in the G1 score. So I think that's
Yeah.
very cool. And streaming release. But as far as toys, probably Sandstorm, which I already have. So Swarp, I guess.
Yeah,
Hard to be
Sandstorm is a
excited
good
for
one.
an inevitability. Like we've been looking forward to this for a while. So it's
Right,
like, yay,
right.
he'll be here, but like it's not unexpected.
Yeah.
So
Well, I feel like
hard to say.
I think Gears is definitely a nice upgrade over what we had. I was happy
Yeah.
to get him. I think the swoop will be exciting when he actually comes out. Like, it's nice to be able to finally get like a good version of some of these guys. Like, like Sandstorm is definitely cool to get like a more toy accurate version than what we have, but I still really like that old one, even though
I
it
do
was
too.
not accurate to anything, but or at least not accurate to the toy.
Yeah, I mean, same kind of thing with Springer, where it's that is a good toy. It's a cool toy. It's an awesome design. It's just if you want something that's going to be a G1 slavish reproduction, it's not doing it, which I'm okay with that. Um, but that's very much been the trend here as being the G1. Um, give us the spitting image of a G1 toy and or G1 cartoon in plastic.
Yeah, and they're doing that. Sandstorm's head is not that. It's kind of a mix, but I'm sure down the line we'll get the Sandstorm show head.
Yeah,
somewhere.
Re-release it in Studio Series somehow. So
I probably wouldn't buy that, but I wouldn't be mad at it.
Do a multi-pack of him and Octane.
Yeah. Be a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Ron says swoop for sure for him. He's the only mainline bot that he purchased.
Wow.
So, there you go.
Yeah, I mean that one's going to draw a lot of interest. Everyone's going to be trying to get him, so it's exciting release for sure. Just it's hard to be excited about it because again we've known about it forever.
Right, it's inevitable.
Right.
So
it's not like, oh my god, Swoop. It's like, oh yeah, Swoop is finally here, yay. So did I get oh my god excited about anything that got revealed? I don't think so.
I think that's why the Party Wallop thing is the one that I'm most looking forward to, because that was the one that we had teases about, but you didn't know what it was going to look like. It was going to look like the Party Wagon. You knew that, but what the bot mode was going to look like, that was a mystery. And so the accessories that it comes with, all that stuff, to me is what's got me the most excited about that toy versus the other stuff, which again, Gear, Swoop, Sandstorm, all good looking. I'm looking forward to getting them, but to just the pure excitement of like granted, I saw the pictures the night before, but like, yeah, that was like, holy crap, this is cool. Like, oh, could be all 4 turtles? Like, that's awesome. So, yeah.
Well, and I think too, like, I mean, up until the recent past, like, we didn't even think that a Ninja Turtles crossover was going to happen. So, I think that's probably another exciting thing.
Yeah, I mean that's just one of those things of whether it's like just someone's fan art or whatever, like how the what the internet was made for the longest time in terms of people taking their sort of fan fiction ideas and putting it down on paper for other people to see. And there's been so many people coming up with their idea of what a transforming Party Wagon would look like. So it is kind of neat and cool to see. And the fact that you've got these barriers between the toy companies broken down over the years. We've got an actual Lego Optimus Prime. You're going to have Hot Wheels Transformers. We've got a Ninja Turtle Party Wagon. Like, there's a lot to say that we're in a golden age of toy collecting.
Lego Bumblebee this summer.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. So, I don't know, book club this week. Like, I don't know if Zaldron or Anna or whoever can mention whatever they're doing in book club. So, I have to wait for a minute for them to catch up.
I do like Ron's comment that Ninja Turtles has been putting themselves out there to just about every retailer that exists in terms of crossovers. Like they got the Stranger Things crossovers, the Karate Kid crossovers. So maybe the Transformer thing is just even a little bit late to the game. They did the Power Rangers crossovers, He-Man crossovers. So yeah, they've definitely been jumping into a lot of different beds.
Well, again, like Transformers do take longer to develop, so that may be part of the reason why that we're not seeing them as soon.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, the other news, I guess too. Probably should have mentioned earlier. They're doing like showings for some of the G1 cartoons in movie theaters, right?
Yes.
along with like a script reading for the first episode, I think.
Yeah, and friend of the show, Frank Todaro, is doing the Starscream in that table reading there, along with Frank Welker and Peter Cullen and another gentleman you've met a couple times, right, Lucas? And in terms of, I'm going to butcher his name, the voice of Grimlock.
Red Burger.
Burger,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I want to say like Behringer or something like that. I want to add more syllables than there actually are.
Just two.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that looks pretty exciting. I think I'm going to go see that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I will probably take my boys to see that.
Well, it's nice that they're actually doing some of the G1 episodes instead of the movie again, because I'm like, I just assume they're going to re-release the movie again. You're just like, well, how many more times can I see that in the theater? I've already seen it a billion.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I've got, a younger son now since the last time it was released in the theater. So I think he would very much enjoy seeing it in the theater since, I showed it to him on Blu-ray a few weeks ago. And that's the consistent, ask in the car is songs from the Transformers movie, the 86 movie. So that's pretty amusing to me. It is an amazing soundtrack. And it's mildly annoying for me with my son because he's like, which part of the movie is this? And literally 3 seconds later, which part of the movie is this now? Which part of the movie is this? It's literally the same thing. 3 seconds have transpired since you last asked me.
That's funny.
The Dinobots have moved 3 feet up the ramp into the shuttle. So, yeah. Zaldron says 27 and 28 is what they're going to be covering for Book Club.
I do I feel like Zaldron is now putting as much effort as the people put in, as much effort as they put into making those comics. So
I don't want to disparage the creators on those.
Sure,
I'm not
sure
a fan,
Catherine would hate me for that. I'm probably gonna hear it or whatever for doing that, but I don't know. It's just not I feel like especially towards the end was just I don't know.
And next week we get to figure out if I'm going to continue reading the Skybound series because 7 comes out. They finished the first arc. They're changing up the writers. They're changing up the artists. They're changing up
the
something.
Artists, same writer.
Changing artists.
Oh, okay.
So we will see if I continue.
Who's the next artist? Have they announced it?
Yeah, they have. I apologize. I can't remember the gentleman's name off the top of my head.
We will do that show next week.
Huh. Yeah,
Anna's been wanting to do that show for a while.
I feel like I need to catch up with the comic because I kind of I don't know. I read the first few and I kind of just fell off of reading them.
Six made me mad with how bad it was, so that was cool.
I disagree. Jorge Corona.
So yeah,
was
Jorge Corona can turn it around.
Scotty Young, who's now one of your KC guys.
What about Scotty Young?
The artist Jorge Corona, who's doing the issue, the arc starting with issue 7, he's done quite a few books with Scotty Young.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So again, kind of that more animated art style. Yeah. So
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure at some point we'll talk about that first arc and what our overall thoughts were as a cast. Probably maybe wait till the trade comes out so we can have that discussion then when it's in the collected edition. But yeah, I don't know. If you want to read the older Transformers comics and be a nerd and hang out with them Sunday, you can. Otherwise, us cool kids are going to be watching WrestleMania.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. Wrestling fans are cooler than Transformers fans. I said it. Fight me.
Oh, and then Zaldron says the graphic novel is going to come out in May. So
yeah.
Oh, we don't have to wait too much longer then.
So cool. So yeah, I think that's probably how I'll end up collecting those.
Oh, and Ron, question. This is an artist edition Bulls hat. The Bulls give out like 6 of these kinds of hats every season, and like different local artists put their kind of spin on the Bulls logo. So that's where this came from.
Neat.
Yeah,
I like it.
I enjoy it. Yeah.
There you go. So, all right. Well, thank you everyone for participating tonight. Thanks to everyone in the chat. So yeah, and I guess we'll be back next week.
Yes, we will.
All right. There you go.
Bye-bye.